Good afternoon to you all ladies on the International Women's Day, and the 12 brave men. It's great that you're here. You're great guys. It is an honor for me to address this group, and even on this particular day. I think it is great. It's a great initiative, so I think that we all appreciate that very much. So fish and chips and rock and roll is what I'm going to talk about, because fish and chips is what I've been working with. Fish and chips, chips and fish. It's ups and downs, it's action, it's fun, and it's global, so it really is pretty rock and roll-ish. I've been lucky enough to spend my whole career in this line of business, and as a result, I have been working mainly with men as my colleagues. And as much as I like men, I think it's too bad that so few women are in interesting jobs in our industries, because we don't want to miss out on the fun, basically, first of all. Currently, as was mentioned, I'm CEO of Salmon Group, a company owned by local producers of farmed salmon and trout all along the coast of Norway. How can I describe them? Well, they are clever, they're hardworking, fabulous people, mainly in family-owned companies. Great guys to work with. Salmon farming, as we know, is a relatively young business, and the culture is still a bit macho. In several ways, with regards to diversity, the business, I would say, is where shipping was 10 or 15 years ago. Not strictly, and I'm not strictly then talking about women in leading positions, because I think that diversity is a topic that is very closely related to topics such as ethics, attitudes, and sustainability. And at the end of the day, the fundament for all of this is culture. And I'm sure that you're all very familiar with the famous quote from the late management guru Peter Drucker. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. And so while you can outsource strategy, creation, culture, the real fundament of ethics and attitudes, well, that's something else. Changing the culture takes longer, and it takes something else. From my point of view, there are two or three, depending on how you look at it, things that are going to set things right going forward. And that have been setting things right also for a little while. It's the stock exchange, it's the next generation, and it's digitalization. Now, the next generation and digitalization, those two are closely interconnected. So thank you, Stock Exchange, for all your boring and demanding rules and regulations, for bringing us forward, basically. The Stock Exchange is a bit like that boring old uncle who always knows how to do the right thing and was always telling me that you should do even more. You should report even more, even further, even deeper, on more detail. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a good thing, because it does bring us forward. And the listed companies, of course, are the first to be exposed to all this. And then, as staff and attitudes move on, it trickles down to every other company. So it does bring us forward, even if it seems a little bit boring and demanding at times. Now, the next generation, that's something else. And I'm happy to see so many young ladies in the audience today. The future. Of course, you know, they're clever, they're highly educated, they have top modern responses to everything, and they are in general super versatile. They represent a set of new values. They can change cultures. They are the masters of technology and will be the guys who digitalize the industry for us and with us. With a bit of luck, they can drag old people with white hair also into the new digitalized future. Now, digitalization in itself will bring more equality in so many ways, not only between genders, but also, for example, between companies of different sizes, as complex operations are made more accessible to all and everyone. You know, if there are complex regimes that you have to go through to apply for new areas where you can do your fish farming, for example, it is much more democratic if you don't actually have to have a legal department and a technical department, but you can even be a smaller producer, and the portal that you use is so simple that you don't really have to have all those guys there with you. Now, I've talked about the stock exchange, the young, and digitalization, and I don't want to leave the topic of the young quite yet, because what is important now with the young is that we really help them, lift them up, make things easy for them, coach them, because they are, you know, for obvious reasons, the future. And if we help them up, you know, if we're kind to them, some of the magic of the young may also rub off on us, older guys. Currently, it is a fact, also in Norway, it of course differs from between the continents and different areas, but it is currently a fact that women in Norway, women are underrepresented in management position in the seafood industry, but not for much longer, because it has become cool to work in the seafood industry, for reasons already mentioned. For example, the world needs more seafood. It has become super cool. And women are in majority at the seafood industry-related studies in universities these days. Now, coolness and professionalization, they go together. And the industry, I feel, is moving fast forward on topics such as transparency, sustainability, business ethics. Well, these topics are on the agenda, and we from our side in Salmon Group are going to keep putting them there on the agenda and making sure that they are there. I'm also going back to the topic of caring for the young and for everybody around us, really, to be kind, basically. Because I think that there is no way we can move forward in a good way unless we sort of make sure that we help each other out. We all like to be recognized for the good work we're doing, and this, of course, is such a simple thing to do, although very often forgotten in the midst of hard work and busy days. Simple, easy, and even free, so we should do more of it. All managers can learn from that. Now, at the end of this day, the International Women's Day, don't worry, be happy. And send kind thoughts to those less fortunate than us guys in this room. You know, women with real problems and real challenges, you know, that go way beyond the feeling that you're sometimes rubbing against the glass ceiling. And that we're not always recognized for the good work we do in a male-dominated segment. Women in areas of the world where human rights and women's rights are not recognized. And finally, I think that we should toast to the women who went before us. The strong and the brave, the ones that's made it possible for all of us to get interesting jobs in this amazing industry. So cheers to those. I don't have a glass with me, unfortunately. Cheers. Cheers, guys. And thank you.